everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are tuning in the world. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you and welcome to Abstract Medicine. As you can tell, here is my face, the face to the hands of Abstract Medicine. I just wanted to give you this intro with my face featured, and then I'll get into the reading. I just want to say thank you again so much for all of your amazing patience the last few weeks. I know that I've been away doing most of the art stuff. So you may have been looking at my Instagram, cristal_fischetti, for all of the stuff that I've been doing abroad, and that will definitely continue. But again, thank you so much for waiting so patiently for all of the new free uploads for the cartomancy readings here on YouTube. I also would like to let you all know that my readings and private sessions are still open. So if you would like to book a session with me, you know where to find me. All the information is in the description down below, and I'm here at your service. So thank you again. We will be doing another general reading today. It won't be a pick a card or pick a pile. It's going to be a general reading, and I'm going to be using this new deck, which I've not used with you all. So I'm really excited to use this deck. So let's get on with the reading. Okay, everyone. So here is the Japaritse Tarot deck, and it's going to be the first time I'm going to be using this deck with you all. I'm very, very excited about using it. This is going to be the first time I'll be using it completely, first time ever, and I'm very excited, as I said, about using it. So we're kind of almost unboxing it a little bit. I've already pre-unboxed it. I've got some wax on my finger there. Just get that off, and let's have a look. So got a nice little box here, and we have the booklet here. Nina Japaritse, she's a female, although the name is with an O at the end. It is a female, Nina Japaritse, and the text is by Steve Lucas, but she is an illustrator, an artist. She does her work oil on canvas here. Very cool deck. I'm pretty sure she's from Georgia. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, she's from Georgia. Yeah. So it's a cute little booklet with all the information about the major arcana and then the minor arcana in here. Let's just put this out of the way. And then these are her cards as well. So very surreal paintings that she does here. Beautiful. And I'm very, very excited about using these cards today with you all. So I'm just going to go and shuffle them now. They're quite long cards. So I'm going to have to shuffle them a slightly different way. Okay, dear angels, ancestors, guides, universe, please bring me the messages that Abstract Medicine need to hear right now at the time of clicking onto this video. Thank you so much. They're also wanting to say again that for those of you who are interested in booking a reading with me, please do not hesitate to drop me a message as well. If this is the first time that you've ever done a reading, I feel like some of you are quite intrigued and you've not done a reading before like this. I'm only here to bring messages of guidance. I'm not here to scare you. Especially during your private readings as well, I'm even more graceful and attentive. Yeah, here to guide. I offer cartomancy readings as well, of course, as you know from my services on my website. On the page for healing, there's a page called Healing on my website, and there you'll be able to see other services that I provide in terms of healing. I also do shamanic healing, which is done remotely. I also do dream interpretation with the crystal ball. art therapy as well as Italian through art history. I don't really need to use the cards to channel the messages. I am a psychic medium, but my main profession, as it were, is I am an artist. But the real part of being of service, I would say, for me at least, is doing this beautiful stuff, cartomancy. So the first card that we have here is the moon. Okay, so here's the card here, the moon. Very interesting because I'm actually filming this this reading on 100% full moon in Virgo. The moon is going into Libra very, very shortly. And this is the moon card here. Can you see how this moon card has got like an eye reaching out and upwards as well? Let me just adjust the camera there. There you go. So you can see that. So what is it like? A lot of you are possibly looking into ideas about quantum physics, about ideas about quantum, ideas about, you know, quantum is basically understanding or appreciating the fact that there are other dimensions, really thinking outside of yourself, outside of your parameter, outside of your box. And I really think that a lot of you are maybe aided by me and my weird thought processes. But no, I'm not here to obviously put myself down, but I am a little bit strange, of course, but that's what makes me unique and interesting. And a lot of you are as well, very unique and interesting. But I think there's something very opportune happening for all of you where you're really looking outside of yourselves here. Hopefully the lighting isn't too bad for you there. So yeah, the full moon. So we have the moon card here, full moon in Virgo. Virgo could be your sign. This is going to be a timeless reading, but for those of you who are tuning in now, 2022, where the full moon is in Virgo, some of you could be Virgos, or some of you are really looking in, going deep within to ask those questions, those very all-important questions about life, what it means to live. Like, you know, life isn't just about survival, remember. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so we have the Four of Fire. So the Four of Fire is the Four of Wands. Something you're excited about, collector, something you're excited about, something you want to celebrate. Maybe this is something you are planning on celebrating, something that you may be scared of. Because remember, when we look at outside of ourselves and we really think about other dimensions, other planets, what's going on outside of our, you know, our own planet, what's going on outside of our own universe, we're starting to think quantum, we're starting to think about multiverses here. You know, there's also something to celebrate, but I actually feel that with these two cards here, I'm going to pull these two cards that are poking out as well, is that I actually feel that your guides are excited and they're celebrating. I'm seeing like a group of people that are clapping and applauding, that they're excited that you're looking outside of your usual perspective, and I think that's something to be celebrated indeed. We have the Seven of Tides. Yeah, no surprise. So the Seven of Tides is the Seven of Cups. So tides in this deck is water, it's emotions, it's psychic, empathic vibes, right? It's about going really deep, again, asking those very deep questions about existence, going really deep, and I'm hearing profundity, you know, going really deep into these ideas about the world out there. And can you see how this card here, we have the moon right there, and we have these beings that are dancing around a sort of maypole, in two maypoles almost. This is also the card of marriage as well, nuptials, but I actually feel like with this Four of Fire, the Four of Wands, and the Seven of Tides, which is the Seven of Cups, it's about imagination, it's about fantasy, it's about maybe getting into more sci-fi stuff, like really, again, really thinking outside of your own perspective here, feeling a bit fantastical even. I really feel like this is a lot of you at this time are having quite interesting dreams as well, or you're dreaming big, you're dreaming about other worlds, you're getting inspiration probably, or possibly for those of you who are creatives, or even for those of you who work in film, you're really thinking about these things, you're thinking outside of your box or parameter, but also you're being inspired by these other worlds. You know, remember the United States of America was was a land of indigenous people whom we now know today collectively as Native Americans. But for a lot of the newfound explorers, the adventurers from the UK, from England, who had gone to the States, or even Cristoforo Colombo, the Italian explorer. There was also a Portuguese one as well. Actually, he landed in America before he did. But anyway, politics. Um, it was about finding this new adventure, finding this new land, this new world. And I feel like some of you are kind of going back in time almost into these vortexes of moments of history where this was happening. Maybe you were doing this through your dreams. Maybe you're doing this through reading books like, fantasy books like Gulliver's Travels, or books like, 100 Leagues Under the Sea, that kind of thing. I really think I'm hearing, for some of you are reading Aldous Huxley as well, Brave New World possibly for some of you. But I feel that there's something quite fantastical here about these new worlds, these new adventures. I don't know why I'm stressing on this, but they are saying that this is something that is of high importance for you at this time. Got loads of wax on my fingers at the moment. And then we have the Two of Winds, which is winds being air. So there could be a little bit of confusion about a path that maybe you're taking, or you're choosing to take a path. Again, we have winds, which is about air, clarity, communication as well. But it's also, I'm just holding my selenite, it's also about, entering or making the choice to maybe think clearly about one idea and maybe letting go of another idea. So I feel like it could be something related with that, where you're maybe even some of you are expanding your senses. So I feel like some of you could even be extending your senses, in the sense like, for me, I don't only just have 4 senses, I have multiple senses. I am able to hear, I'm able to see the messages, which is clairaudience, clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairsentience. These are other senses that kind of cross over. I am also, a synesthete, so someone who has chromesthesia, where if I tune into it, I'm able to hear colour. Some people are able to taste sound, like those kind of things are where you're crossing the senses. So I'm seeing here that some of you could even be, again, really getting into sci-fi, science fiction, but also, you're really actually now starting to think that maybe the world of duality is not something that you really want to be focusing on anymore. And maybe, and I'm seeing 11:10 on the timer there, so no surprise, where you're actually now starting to see this opening doorway, this opportunity to actually see things differently. And now you're starting to see how people maybe think, see, taste, feel, do things differently. And I do feel like this is the world of the creative, just generally speaking. Okay, let's get some more cards. So the moon card, as we know, is the sign of Cancer. For some readers, it's a sign of Pisces as well. But I also did mention at the very beginning that we just came through, or we're currently in the full moon in Virgo right now, which is going to be turning into a new phase into Libra. So we have air sign here, which is Gemini, Aquarius here, as well as Libra. I don't feel like these two are as important in terms of the zodiacs, but I do feel like these are meshed. So some of you could have your moon in Cancer, your moon sign in Virgo as well. The moon in Cancer is also about, really tapping into your nurturing abilities, your maternal instincts, going really deep with your emotions. Remember, it can be quite scary when we go really, really deep. I do feel like a lot of your dreams for you at this time, abstract medicine community, is very fantastical. You're maybe in your dream space, you're celebrating, you're even having nuptials in your dream space. Some of you are even getting married, or you're at least, some of you I'm also seeing are sort of astral projecting through your dreams. So you're traveling to different worlds, but also you're experiencing, you're going to the 4D, the 4th dimension, maybe some of you the 7th dimension, as well as the 9th dimension in particular. The 9th dimension is all about going in, entering into the void, the zero sound, zero null, like nullness, and that really is the frequency, let's say, the vibration of God. So the Om sound, which is all sounds encompassing everything, the ultimate and nothingness as well at the same time. So I really do feel like, again, you're answering those big questions. Who am I? Where am I? What am I? Where am I in the world? What does world mean? What does my perspective mean? What am I actually looking at? But yes, anyway, I do feel like some of you are really going deep with your emotions. Some of you, again, this is a collective reading. This is not a private reading. So some of the messages will resonate with you at this time and some just won't, and that's totally fine. And then, so we have our first major arcana, which is the moon card. And then we have another one here with the temperance card. Beautiful, beautiful card here, temperance. So la temperanza. So temperance calls on us to be balanced. You know, Libra energy here. I did talk about the moon moving into Libra after this phase of the full moon in Virgo, which is going to be calling us to have more balance in our lives. And again, we have temperance, balance, right? But also patience as well. So what is it that you're wanting to celebrate in your near future? And maybe this is something to be balanced about and patient about. Some of you could be celebrating a new home here with the Four of Fire. The Four of Wands does talk about stability, talks about home, talks about foundation, as well as, again, something to be cheerful for, something to celebrate with friends and family. And I'm also hearing that song, Reasons to be Cheerful, as well. Okay, so here we have the Jester of Gardens. So the Jester of Gardens is essentially the page, yeah? The page of Earth, the page of Pentacles. So the Jester of Gardens, so let's look at this card. We have a clown here. We have a clown, and this clown is holding the ball in their left hand, and this ball has butterflies on it. Some of you can see that. Some of you are possibly going through a transformative time in your in your career, in your life. I put career and life together, and it came out as Leah. Some of you, I'm getting a lot of information all at once. So guys, please just come in slowly with the information, please. Thank you. So essentially, I'm also hearing King Lear as well. If we look at King Lear, you know, the story of King Lear, that could be significant for you as well. The person who's kind of like the outsider, the odd one out, let's say, as well. Maybe you are the odd one out in your community. Maybe you're standing up for a purpose. Maybe you're seeing things in a different perspective, and maybe you're a bit fearful about stepping out and, you know, standing in your integrity. Remember that clowns also have an element, you know, the humor, of course, also have an element of seriousness to them. This is the energy of a jester, you know, the energy of someone who could be a stand-up comedian, a stand-up comic, you know, a stand-up comedian. Remember, again, with a lot of humour, there's also something quite sinister sometimes, or even quite raw as well. This jester has in their right hand, to me at least, I mean, make it what you will, but this image looks like a compass to me, and this compass is clouded with some images in there. You know, maybe the image has been distorted. Maybe the image of this person as they look in the mirror is distorted or has been distorted. So maybe there has been a question about that recently where, again, our realities have been distorted. Maybe some of you are leaping timelines as well, or you're changing your timeline and turning something into something a bit more fated. So you're turning your life, you're basically taking the bull by the horn. You're taking life in your hands, and you're wanting to explore more of it. And maybe this is a question of also leaping into that fear as well of transformational energy. Some of you could also be wanting to travel more as well, and you know that there's going to be a lot of transformation, but you know, of course, during these stages. But I also do see that there is something very light-hearted about it, that maybe something that a lot of people see in you as well, abstract medicine, is that you are, you know, you've got like a face of a clown. Maybe you've got like an image, you know, you have a persona online possibly. Some of you may have people that see you as quite naive, maybe even a student of life, or something that you are studying at this time. But there's a seriousness to this person, as you can see here. There is a seriousness to their face here. You know, so maybe there is something that actually now people are actually starting to see you transform into someone that you're really taking your life seriously. So, for example, in my early 20s, I was very adamant to really pursue art as a career, that I wanted to really focus on. Remember, I was a dancer. I was performing for the majority of my life, from the age of the dot to the age of, well, let's say 27. I still went to do my BA degree in fine arts, and I was still training as well at the same time. I wanted to have that academic sort of, parallel. I sort of wanted to have that stability, and I wanted to make sure that I could fall back on it. And luckily, it worked. So, but during my early 20s, I was like, okay, I really want to commit to this art business. And when I turned 30, people in industry were like, okay, well, she's actually serious about this thing, or at least that's how it felt. It's like, yeah, of course. Like during my 20s, I've always been been focusing on this, on the art, and this is something that I really wanted to do. And for some reason, once I turned 30, it's like the industry's perspective had turned towards me, and were like, okay, she's actually really in it for the long run now. So maybe that's something that people are now seeing with you, is that maybe they were seeing you as quite naive, or seeing that you were juggling different things, juggling different hobbies, or juggling multiple careers. I don't know. Remember, this is a collective reading, it's not a private reading. So please take the messages as they resonate for you. Beautiful Abstract Medicine Collective. But what I see here is I also do see there's an energy of splitting the atom here, is what I want to say. And splitting the atom here is all about, living in two dimensions at the same time, living in two realities at the same time. And I feel like a lot of you in a quantum way are doing that. But I also do see that a lot of you are maybe trying to balance out maybe a shift from, or a transformation from one state of being, or a place, a situation, or even with people possibly, into another state of being. So some of you could be single at this time, and you're a little bit scared about jumping into a relationship. Some of you, I do feel, are ready, and I feel like some of you, or at least a lot of you, are being perceived as quite naive. Maybe also you look quite young for your age as well, but actually you hold a lot of wisdom, but you are a student of life, and that's what makes you young in appearance, or you have a joie de vivre, and so that's what I do see here. The other thing I was saying is that there's also possibly some of you a transition between one career as well. So something that maybe you're studying, or maybe you're going back to school to study, and that is something I have been picking up on a lot of you for the abstract medicine community. Remember, it doesn't have to be like going to do a degree. It could just be a short course, or it could just be a little bit of training or something like that. But you're wanting to perfect something, you're wanting to study, you're wanting to learn something new. And I do feel like this is a good investment for your career. But generally speaking, I do see that there is going to be transformation between that, a beginning stage, to another stage where there's going to be more stability. For some of you, you could also, again, be moving home, or moving to a more stable place in your life. And this is something that you may have been fantasizing about or dreaming about as well. Some of you have had lots of options as well, maybe in terms of romance as well, possibly. Let's get one card for the Two of Wands, please. Thank you. Sorry, Two of Wands. Okay, so we have the Two of Wands, and we have the Three of Fire. Okay, beautiful. So whatever confusion you might have a little bit of confusion about, moving towards a path that maybe you've not crossed before. You're going to be given the opportunity by Spirit to go and fly. Okay, so we have the Three of Fire here, Three of Wands, where there is someone here on this lovely hot air balloon, and they're going to a territory, maybe at night, maybe you're taking the red-eye flight, from one destination to another, and you don't know where you're going. This is kind of like that leap of faith, but possibly with your third eye here, this eye that's looking up and out, and also this energy of, getting up and atom as well, energy, I'm guessing, is that that is the drive that's going to help you move into your next stage, where there's going to be more stability here. Okay, beautiful. Okay, we do have a bit of activity outside. It's a Friday evening as I'm filming, and I was just called to film at this hour. So, but yeah, can you also see how we have in the Temperance card here? We have this little hole here this portal. And again, it's kind of like that break in the dimension as well, the break in the dimension that's going to help you see things differently. Again, it's all about looking up, looking out of your situation at this time, and really focusing on the bigger picture, essentially. I also want to say welcome to Apollo again, and also Miffy. She's called Miffy by default through the Sanrio family company, the Japanese company, but if you would like to name her, please do. Let me know, send in your suggestions as well. I thought she was really cute. I found her in Portugal, and I just thought they were like a cool little abstract medicine mascot community crew. So they're here. Maybe it's better like that as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, so what was I saying? So I do see here with the Three of Fire, there's going to be an opportunity that you're going to be offered as well. Some of you, it could be offered an opportunity in terms of work, but I also feel like the opportunity from Spirit to have more clarity as well about something that you may have been scared about launching or leaping into. You know, this does require patience, but also the dedication that you've put into this thing, the thing that you've been manifesting, that you've been dreaming about, it is going to be becoming real for you. It is something positive, but it's also asking you to really face that fear as well, I would say. And, you know, everyone wears a mask, whether they want to admit it or not, you know, including spiritual people or people that claim to be spiritual, like myself. You know, we are human beings, we're living in a 3D world, and, you know, there is just that, you know. So also, whatever you have done yourselves, it has been done by other people before. Remember how I started this reading with this kind of like newfound explorer energy, you know, with this energy here with people going to explore new lands, and you know, like Christopher Columbus, Cristoforo Colombo, like going to America and all this kind of stuff, all the Americas rather. It's this energy where you're going to explore a new land. For some of you, I know it sounds a bit naff, but it's about exploring yourself again, like really, you know, peeling back those layers and going really deep into your psyche here. Maybe even it's a question about healing some mother wounds as well, with your own mother, or even just some healing your ideas about yourself. I did just hear body dysmorphia. Some of you may have had that in the past or not. But I do see that you're also going to be taken seriously now for what it is that you do. Some of you are entertainers as well here. I see that with the Jester of Gardens. But again, I also do see that there are multiple options there for you. I know that in my private readings, for a lot of you, you've been asking questions about, you know, should I go towards this business or not? And a lot of you have had lots of options, and I sort of helped guide you with the best option that would fit best for your business, your brand, your career. And again, I do feel like that could be presented again in a different form. So I would just be careful, because there could be some that could be shinier than others, let's say. So remember, thinking about Merchant of Venice here, all that glimmers is not always gold, right? So remember, just, you know, go back into your intuition, go back into your psyche, go deep, go into hermit mode with the Virgo energy of the moon, really tap into that, ask the moon for help, to bring in some illumination as well. Because remember, the moon is about illuminating itself on itself. It's not illuminated by anything else. At least scientifically, that's what I understand. But you know, the moon is the energy of the female, the feminine. I will also say that, you know, we've lost contact and we've lost touch with the moon being the energy of the psychic, the females, the initiates, the psychic goddesses, that were so connected with serpents as well, and psychic gifts and psychic powers, that then ended up being corrupted by a civilization in our humanity that was really mainly focused on patriarchy. So masculine and men ruling our worlds. And so I think here with the moon energy, it's telling me to call in, your feminine portals, particularly for those of you who are women, classify yourselves as women as well. I would say it's about focusing and getting deep into your psychic abilities and also trusting your intuition and your instincts as well. In this occasion, with whatever decisions that you're needing to make at this time or whenever. Um, and um, and this connection as well with opening up your third eye. Remember, the third eye is the actual, it's the head of the serpent, because remember, the serpent is our spinal column as well. So I'm just rubbing my eyes there. Yeah, it's just closing your eyes and opening your third eye here. That's what's happening. And so, this fear that a lot of you may have about spirituality is sort of unfounded, because you being spiritual is about closing your eyes and really looking properly, looking for the first time. Remember in The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, there's this lovely line that talks about about that, where well, there's quite a few amazing lines in there, great quotes about basically the protagonist in this beautiful book says, but I thought in Islam, alcohol was illegal, was banned, right? It was haram, and the other individual says, it's not what enters the alchemist. The actual alchemist actually says this. It's not what enters men's mouths that is evil. It's what comes out of it. But there's also this question of what is it that you're actually seeing? Because not everything that you're actually seeing, remember, all that glitters is not always gold, is the genuine article. Sometimes you have to close your eyes and open your third eye to get in touch and tap into that. Okay, I hope that makes sense for you. All right, so collective, what is it that Abstract Medicine Collective need to hear right now? Thank you. Wow, look at that. We have the Hierophant, and look, we have a bat. Interesting, because we have the Batman that's just come out, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. So we have the Hierophant. The Hierophant is the head priest, and it is the status quo, and it is for me, the governments. So I did talk about patriarchy as well. So Il Papa, the Pope, the head priest, the high priest, the status quo. So I actually do feel, again, we have this energy of nighttime with the bat, and the energy of night, something that you may be scared of. Remember, the bats, Batman. Let's talk about Batman for a second, because I love Batman. Batman's like my favorite superhero ever, to be honest, like, genuinely. Always. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he represents to me, someone who's doing justice for the people, and it's sort of hidden. It's not something that he's kind of like showing off to the world, like many religions can be. That sort of, there can be a lot of people in government or in religious spiritual communities even, who speak as leaders and they pontificate and they say this and that, but are they actually doing the work? Are they being of service? And so what I'm hammering home here through the channeling is exactly that. It's, you're now going to be recognized for the gifts that you have, the gifts that you offer the world as well. And I do feel like it's going to provide a lot of stability for you in the long run. Remember, this isn't just stability that's just going to be for like 4 months. This is a good planning. So it's something that you've been studying, or you've been working very hard at, or maybe something that you've been known as being quite naive or emerging in your field of work. You're now going to be applauded, I would say, and recognized for your talents and your gifts. And I feel like it could be something to do with shifting this. I just keep hearing pedagogy and patriarchy. So if those two words signify something to you, then this is your reading. And also, please do like the video as well, and please do put a comment as well on the video. It's not for me, it's for other people to see that, it is working, that these videos are helping you, but also it helps just generally with more people accessing my free videos on YouTube as well. It's very important for others, not for me, for others here on YouTube. So unfortunately, that's how the algorithms work. So going back to the Hierophant here, what is it that you're breaking down in terms of this patriarchy? You see there's this sort of tower here that's kind of like split in two, and we have this bat rising as well. So what is it that's being called to come out of the darkness in order for it to come into the light? You know, what is it you're juggling as well? I feel like some of you again are juggling, you're balancing out, you're wanting to be less maybe superficial, and maybe you're wanting to balance your persona online, on stage. Again, like, you know, there are singers, like rappers as well, like Megan the Stallion. You know, say what you want about her, about conspiracies, whatever, but I feel like there's some good messages there with what she has to say. Really interesting interview that she had with Dua Lipa on Service 95 podcast. Really interesting, very, very significant, and very on point with what's going on with today in terms of women, just generally speaking, owning their bodies, you know. But also her having these multiple personas on stage as well. You know, coming down to it, there's just one person, but sometimes we do have to channel and access those facets of ourselves in order for that to come out more. You know, so for example, I don't have a name for my, you know, I don't really have another persona, let's say, but I do put one on when I'm doing my thing online and I'm as an artist. And it's something that calls in me to be the most loud, the most unapologetic woman that I know for myself, representing so many other women. And that's what you'll probably see a lot of on my social media. I just don't have any time of day for people just flattering my appearances. It's really not what I'm about. I don't really care for it. It's not something that I look for, you know. And again, it's like, for a lot of you women out there as well, how are you being recognized for the talents and gifts, as well as your hard freaking commitment that you put into your work as well, rather than just for your appearances? Because sometimes, as much as we want to say, oh, everything's fine, is it, you know? And again, we're also having to, you know, show a front, men and women, show a front in our own line of work, that everything is going well, that we're abiding by the status quo, we're paying our taxes, we do all these things. But I do feel like a lot of you are having a change in your perspectives right now at this time. And I think it's got something to do with how you may perceive the world, you may look at the world. With the Hierophant here, it's giving me the energy of very strong Taurus energy. So again, we have energy of stability here with the Four of Fire. Some of you are leaving a job that was your 9 to 5, quote unquote, remember. This is something that you're changing, and you're taking charge of your lives here. You're not just here to survive, yeah? You're not just here to get through the day, for living for the weekend. You're here to be of service. You're here to be the best version of yourself and to be authentic as well, and not just to put a front. And I do feel like there is a split that's happening here in your psyche. For some of you, this is a big deal, a very, very big deal, where you're genuinely changing and shifting careers. Some of you are completely relocating as well. That's something I do know for some of you already. But I do see that there's something that's very scary about doing it. And look, trust me, I've done it. If I can do it, you can do it. And hence, that's why I'm here, being of service. Let's break down this Hierophant, because I haven't actually broken it down. We have number 5 here, giving me an energy of massive changes, obviously. Some of you could be wanting to be a guidance counsellor or a coach. Some of you are actually also getting counselling and coaching. My nose is itching like crazy, and usually, remember, when I channel, my nose itches a lot. So I don't know why. It's just something that we have. Psychic mediums. I have no idea why this is, but if you do know, let me know. But I do feel like a lot of you are leaving away. You're leaving a matrix. You know, remember, we do live in one massive matrix, which is said to be a maternal matrix. Remember, For some of you who know Louise Bourgeois, amazing French artist, wonderful artist. You know, she had this. She's the artist, the sculptor that well, artist generally, but she has a sculpture called like Le Grand Maman, like the Big Mama. And it's this big spider, and it was the one that was at the Tate Modern in London, but it's all over the world as well. And she died into her late 90s, I'm pretty sure. And Tracy Emin was a huge admirer of her, understandably, but so many other women as well. And it's her, you know, her work deals with a lot of trauma. Her work deals with a lot of like reclaiming the feminine as well. It's not always gentle to the eyes to see, but it is visually cathartic for her, and at least it was very cathartic for her, is what she would talk about. But yeah, I kind of get that feeling where a lot of you are sort of like being the mother of yourself or your career, or maybe this is something that you're putting your work into. Maybe you're healing a lot of women. Maybe you're healing or you're helping to guide and coach a lot of women. You know, look around you. You know, interestingly, I did this art residency. It's for all genders, and unsurprisingly, I happen to be in an art residency full of amazing badass women. You know, so that's no coincidence. That there were other incredible women there on my art residency, and I was very, very excited about it, but I also took note on that, which is amazing. We also celebrated International Women's Day together while I was there, which was beautiful. But yeah, and I do feel like a lot of you are leaving this matrix of this patriarchy matrix. Remember, we have lots of matrices in one matrix, and it is said that this major matrix, this big matrix that we're all connected to, is the mother, which is Mother Gaia energy, the Mother Gaia matrix. And so again, a lot of you, I am also picking up on in the readings, is this connection to Earth here, this connection to celebrate Earth. And you see how all these people here are nude. Excuse me. So, you know, maybe there's something there with finding liberation in your own body and reclaiming your body, for some of you who may have experienced some trauma there as well. But I do feel, again, there's this breaking away of this pattern of thinking, possibly, or even breaking away from a society, a religious sect. Some of you may have been put in a situation where you had to marry someone else that you weren't able to choose, you hadn't had the liberty to choose. And I feel like some of you are leaving that religion, leaving that way of thinking, leaving that spiritual doctrine, or even society as well, whatever it may be. Okay. And look at that, and then we have love, because you're choosing love. That's ultimately what it's about. You're all choosing to be in the energy of love, to choose love. And I'm also getting the information of that film Trainspotting, where you're choosing life. And by choosing life, you're choosing love. You're not choosing to survive, because remember, life is about living it, not about just surviving. So we have a beautiful card here with love here. This card is Gemini energy. Can you see how it's exactly what I spoke about with these little like digital squares here? For me, they're reminding me of the matrix, and these little matrices within one big matrix. This is exactly what I was talking about. And we have this individual here that you can see in a surrealist fashion that is holding this heart, you know, is holding that space, is cradling that. And for me, that is giving me the energy of the divine feminine in Earth, Mother Gaia. Remember, I spoke about Louise Bourgeois, and Le Grand Maman is not something that you should be scared of. This big spider, it's not something that you should be scared of here with the moon. It's something to embrace. Also, the bat is the energy of night and the feminine as well. They're also incredibly telepathic. They're psychic. It's the energy of sonar activity as well. They're fruit eaters. What's not to love about them, really? They kind of look a bit wacky, but quite cool. And they're sort of like hanging upside down, you know. So also again, it's this energy of looking at things in different perspective as well. Maybe this crumbling down of this dogma that we're all collectively experiencing as well, in terms of the governments, generally speaking, is a necessary change that needs to happen. However scary it may look on the outside, remember, are we sort of also pulling away from the news as well? And sometimes we need to detach from the news as well. We need to detach our eyes, our visual eyes, our physical eyes, away from the pandemonium that is happening in the news, just generally, because let's face it, everything that's out in the news on the major news channels, and even now infiltrated in social media, is not good news. There is one really cool, I'm sure there's many others, but there's just one really cool Instagram account called Good News, and it only publicizes good news, even with what's going on, only good news. And it's to give hope and also reality. Again, it's that perspective. It's not only one way, there's also another way as well. Two ways of seeing things, remember. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. Yes, and we do have Judgment here, so absolutely no surprise. So again, a lot of you are, going through a reawakening or an awakening. You're having a wake up call. I was stumbling there because I just saw 44 and 22 on the timer. So a lot of you are being guided as well by ascended masters as well, to wake up to what is being fed in the mainstream news as well. Mainstream news, remember, now has infiltrated into social media, all social media platforms. To be discerning with your eye as well, and what it is that you want your eyes to look at. Remember, be discerning with your eye, your third eye. I think a lot of you are having a wake-up call about your marriages. A lot of you are having wake-up calls about the status quo at this time, about governments. A lot of you are having wake-up calls about your life, just generally, and what's being fed out there. The Judgment card is the energy of awakening. A lot of you are experiencing an awakening for the first time. So we have crows here, and we have bats. It's quite nightly energy, nightly energy. Remember, nightly, the night, the dark night. Again, Batman, the Dark Knight Rising. It's this energy of, the Dark Knight Rising can signify many things. Good, bad, beautiful, and ugly as well. But for me in this reading, I would say it's two things. We also have bat wings here. I would say that for some people, it's an opportunity to, I only work with the light, but I have to say that, in the shadow aspect, there are people who are sort of putting a facade on over our screens with the narrative that is being, issued out. There's storytelling in the news. There is storytelling in the news as well. In order to hide with the moon, hide an agenda, as well as for them to continue doing what they've always been doing. Okay, but there's also another opportunity here where I do see that there are a lot of things that are coming to light here. So I feel like this is going to be a gradual process, just in the collective out there, just generally outside of your own personal situation, where you will be seeing more news coming out about people who have done harm to others that you were not expecting. And I do feel like these are people who are in very high positions, leaders, etc. Even entertainers in music, film, the arts, generally speaking. I feel like there's going to be more news about that, and I feel like this is behind the scenes that not many of you know about. I feel like in the next few years there's going to be more allegations about things that have been suppressed. Very vague, I know, but that's what I see here. But I do also see that it's important to have this clearing. Remember, we've had big floods in Australia. We've had big storms in the UK. We've had, COVID-19. We've had, big shifts and changes that have been mentally and psychologically exhausting for a lot of us, for a lot of you. But I do also think that a lot of it has also been semi-divinely orchestrated collectively, because this is something collectively, whether you want to recognize it or not, we've created it, we've co-created it. And so a lot of our greatest fears are coming up to light, and that's why a lot of these things have been happening, unfortunately. So, but if you choose love, and I don't mean in a toxic positive way, but if you choose love as your main focal point, as your compass, you'll only see and experience more love out there. Remember, again, also being discerning with your third eye, you know, and also with your eyes, your physical eyes in general, like what is it that you want to be focusing on? Remember, whatever we put our energy towards is what is our reality. And if it's repeated over and over again, it becomes real, it becomes a truth. And that's what the news has been working on in terms of its PR and marketing. I don't know why that keeps coming up in terms of the news, but that's what's coming up. Let's have a look and see if there's anything else here. Very strong Gemini energy, if I haven't said it before. Partnerships, yeah. Let's talk about love for a second. I do also see that a lot of you are wanting to meet someone in your same pensamento, someone who thinks the same way as you, or not the same, but you know, in a similar fashion. You have similar ethos, philosophies, spirituality, even religions as well. You know, you might want to attract that into a world where like for like. And maybe this is something you're the most scared of. It's like, oh, actually, I don't know. Would it work if they were from my culture? You know, that kind of thing. And I feel like it will, and I think there is something to celebrate here. Again, we have this energy of mirroring, we have this energy of balance here, we have this energy of partnerships as well as duality. But I do feel like it's not so much as opposites attract, it's more about like for like now. And so I am saying that a lot of you are going to be, you know, you are going to be attracting the loves of your lives. You are going to be coming together with your partner, I would say. Your divine high vibrational match. I will be doing a love reading soon. I know I've been saying it, but I will. And I do feel like you're going to be seeing, you know, each other within each other's eyes, sort of thing, in a very John Donne-esque poetry way. You'll be seeing the reflection of yourselves in that person's eye. Beautiful. Very poetic as well, romantic. And also having some more romanticism in your life, just generally speaking. Remember, with Valentine's Day, it's not just one day, it's every day. Okay, so what is it that are you taking yourself on a date, for example, etc., etc. With the World card, beautiful, absolutely stunning card here with the World. Remember, I did speak about world travel. I did speak about world travel, and I do see a lot of you are going to be traveling here with the 3 of 5. You're going to have the opportunity. Maybe there's a job that's coming through. Maybe it's about teaching and coaching. I don't know. That's going to be up to you. I mean, I'm a teacher myself. Not all the time, but I do teach and mentor. And these cartomancy readings are a form of mentorship as well, let's be honest. But anyway, with the World card, I do see you're going to close out cycles. Things are going to be closing out. There's going to be a bit more harmony as well. And I also do see you're going to have the opportunity to travel more. It's also about having more of a worldly perspective as well. So for any of you who had a limiting belief or perspective on something, seeing one thing only, you're now going to see another. The 2 of Wands is the 2 of Swords usually. So 2 of Swords is like, no, 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 I'm going to close my ears. I'm going to block my ears out, and I just want to close my eyes and just block everyone and put these 2 swords in front of me, you know. But actually, I feel like maybe there is something about, again, discernment, but also maybe about needing to block a few people or just energy as well. I think that's also something that's coming through. Some of you are needing to make positive decisions, like, you know, the right decision towards love and the people that you want to celebrate your next chapter with, people that you want to even invite home as well. I just have to say that, look, we have the Ace of Wands, and underneath that we have the Death card. And what does that remind you of? That looks like Batman symbol, right? So maybe some of you have you've called out for help, you've called out for a teacher, you've called out for a guide, you've called out for guidance, a master, a mistress, you know, that kind of thing. And it appears with this shining Batman symbol. You know, I'm just going to call this Batman symbol from now on with this deck. So we have the Ace of Wands here, and there is that illumination, there is that clarity that finally comes in, and there is also that help. and guidance as well. So that's what I see here, and I think that maybe it's a question of needing to leave, go outside of your comfort zone, a question to leave your own home, your space of comfort or even false comfort, to a new territory, somewhere abroad, away, just even the next village or something. But it's about taking a leap of faith as well, and not being comfortable with, you know, being a bird in a cage. Jodorowsky speaks about, you know, that a bird that has lived all of its life in a cage, I'm paraphrasing here, doesn't believe the need to fly because it's never been able to fly. It's never needed to. And we have this dove here, this bringer and symbol of peace. And of course, with the world events that are going on, there seems to be a need, more of a need of that, isn't it? So I would say that there is going to be still, with some of the events that have been taking place in terms of Ukraine and Russia, I do see that there is, that's going to be a struggle. Peace is going to be something that is not going to be looked at as a main point of focus, because there's all this activity around it. But I do see that some of you are going to be meeting someone abroad, or even coming together with someone who is from another country, or even speaks another language or multiple languages. And I do see two flames here that are burning bright here. Can you see the flames there? For some of you who are watching this, or even like for those of you who are listening to my videos like a podcast, that's fine. There are flames here, and there's these two individuals that are rising in a surrealist fashion, but there are two individuals there, and to me they look like a man and a woman. I do see that for some of you, you are changing sex as well. For some of you, you're transitioning from one identity to another, and I do see that is you coming out of, you know, what's expected in society kind of thought form as well. Anyway, I do see that I do also see that there's this energy of bubbles as well. This energy of like people just being in their own bubble, and just being a light, like carrying this torch of love and light within. And I think that is genuinely going to bring more peace into the world, as we are becoming those forebearers, torch bearers as well, of peace and love and representation as well. Just generally representation, you know, call it whatever you want in what representation means to you. I feel like there's a lot of that, and I feel like it's a question of like this vigilante character as well. Like, how are you being your Batman? How are you being a hero to yourself? Not only to yourself, but also to society, and what's important to you. Yeah. What are you fighting for? Yeah. And I would say peace is the main one here. Okay, I don't want to dwell too much, but with the world card, that is another major arcana. So with the world, you know, again, big chapters closing out in your life and starting a new chapter. Very exciting, very new, very different as well. I see a lot of music and harmony, lots of beautiful colours. I do see a lot of you are going to be going to new lands that you've not been to before. It's a bit scary, but it's very adventurous and exciting. And I do feel like you're going to be that light again to so many who just, let's just be honest, don't have the balls to do that kind of thing. It takes a lot of courage to do that, as I always say. And then, of course, we have the death card, which I mentioned earlier, where there is going to be a complete ending and a transformation from one way of being to another. You know, one type of existence to another type of existence, and this is something that is destined. This is something that you can't avoid. This is something that is going to happen for you, and I would say it's part of this process that we're all going towards as well. And no surprise, we have the Hermit there. So I did start this reading with the Moon in Virgo, and Virgo is the Hermit card as well. So yeah, so whatever you're going into yourself about, asking these big questions, it's all necessary. It's all part of your training. It's all part of your growth. It's all part of your career, your life purpose, your work, as well as your leadership as well. And there's nothing to fear here. again, it's about going within and asking those questions, but also trusting your intuition, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be, it's just trusting the intuition and going with light, with God, and having that torch of light and positivity to the world, because we all, genuinely, we all need it. We all need to have beautiful examples of light and love in our lives, just generally. So, my dears, abstract medicine community, Apollo says goodbye. Miffy says goodbye, but she's also kind of interested in like a new name as well. Anyway, for those of you who are wanting to book a reading with me, I am now fully open. I had a bit of a moment where I just needed some time and space, but now I'm back in. And it's not just about being in a physical place, it's about my mental as well, like the portals that I've needed to open and close as well within my own psyche. But yeah, I'm here and wishing you all so much love and protection and good giggles. Let's just put it out there. Let's just have more giggles in our lives. Take care, beautiful souls. Ciao for now.